I'll never forget Netflix hate. If you never released that, I would have never found you. You know what? That's one thing you can be thankful for Netflix is that people found us from that.
You guys need to stop.
And like what
Netflix
Addison said, she said, you can never be your authentic self until you have loads of money.
We're still broke.
Let's be honest, the music industry isn't built to create big groups anymore. It's a brutal, unforgiving world where for every Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber, there are thousands of forgotten names. But if you're a pop group in the West, it's not a landscape. It's a graveyard. The investment is lower. The group dynamics are a minefield. It's rare for a group to find success like Little Mix, One Direction, or even Fifth Harmony. Right now, the path to success is haunted by ghosts of ensembles that never even reached their full potential and burn out fast. It's a pattern so common it feels like a curse. But what if it's not a curse? What if a new generation of groups are quietly refusing to play by the rules? They've seen the playbook, they know the odds, and they're still fighting back with a totally different strategy. Pure, stubborn resilience and innovation. This isn't a story about overnight success. It's about the groups who have spent years in the dark, who face rebrands, who are on the brink of utter failure, only to come out swinging. We're talking about the acts who are changing the game by simply refusing to die. So this first half of the video, I'll be talking about Say Now, Full Circle, and Siren. The later half, it's Katseye and DearAlice. Just look at the timestamps. Also, I'll be giving my first impressions on everyone's projects. I won't be doing reviews until I feel moved to. So keep an eye out for that, maybe not. Starting off with Say Now, the UK girl group who's had some tough obstacles to get through. For a little over a while now, the music industry has basically been allergic to the idea of a long-lasting pop group. Groups are treated as high-risk, short-term bets, the logic being why invest in 3 to 5 salaries in development when you can pour all of that into a soloist. This creates a vicious cycle. Even with industry backing, artists are under insane pressure to deliver massive hits right out the gate. Then there's the expectation for that first or second single to chart or go viral, or else the label attention drifts, or if they get a big hit, they're pressured to follow it up, and if they don't, they get dropped.
Yeah. What the hell is that?
There's no winning really, and it's that pressure cooker environment that's shattered so many promising groups. However, in the case of Say Now, it's a different story. Their journey has been a roller coaster. Back in 2022, the trio formed under Modest Management, the same agency behind One Direction and Little Mix. Soon after, they got a label deal under Atlantic Records, UK. Fun fact, this is their only label. If you see Amlor credited under their songs, it's because that's their publishing company, where the girls are signed as songwriters. Despite their setbacks, Say Now has been given their rare chance to develop gradually, and their team has worked hard to build a strong fan base. Kudos to them, by the way. However, I'm surprised they didn't get dropped because it really looked dicey for them a few months back. Let me give more context. Around 2022 to 2023, the trio was figuring out their identity, bouncing between R&B and dance bubblegum pop. They dropped catchy singles like Netflix, Better Without You, and my favorite, Better Love, but their music didn't take off, and their placeholder name, Need a Name Bro, wasn't helping.
What are we supposed to do?
They were in pop music limbo until 2024, their year of many breakthroughs. After renaming themselves Say Now, it signified a rebirth. Their new name was a motto, to say what you feel and be unapologetically you. This translated to their music, where the girls fully dived into dance pop, releasing the singles Be Get Out My Car and Trouble. And I loved how Trouble featured a popular Nigerian pidgin phrase, Don't Trouble Me. It highlights the many benefits of incorporating the girls' diverse cultures in their music in an organic way. Cough, cough, Katseye. Just when things fall into place, label issues arose. Per Say Now's official Twitter account, they made a thread clarifying on some of the struggles they were facing behind the scenes. Still, they managed to consistently drop monthly singles, but had no traction. And I was worried because some of their songs didn't even get promoted or even had music videos. But the release of Brick by Brick put me at ease. It was a bop. It had everything I loved about Say Now, great vocals, dancing, clever lyrics from a fresh perspective. Their earlier singles felt too generic for me, like they were still figuring out their style within the girl group formula, but I respected them for trying.
You take notes, you apply them, you keep going. Yeah.
Even the music video was a big improvement, and it trended on Twitter for days, and I think Brick by Brick was their fastest song to hit 1 million streams on Spotify, so this could signal a bright future ahead. Perfect. But Say Now wasn't the only ones fighting for survival. Full Circle just dropped their debut EP, Jete, paying homage to the ballet technique, leaping into a fresh start. This is the quintet's first project with a new lineup, and to reiterate their rebirth, they wiped all of their songs from 2023 and before. What sets Full Circle apart from the traditional boy band is that they aren't pandering to young fangirls, and that their visuals, their music, and their choreo, it all reflects a very serious artistic intent. They do play into some parts of the boy band formula, but there's no gimmicks here. Their music isn't just commercial fluff, it carries meaning. Something interesting about this rollout in their EP is that the boys present themselves as guys with feelings. They're not just avatars for female desire like in the past. Gratitude is a major theme for this EP. Hinted at the breezy, lighthearted opener, This Goes Out to You.
It's really great.
Which is already on my summer playlist. Superstar leans into this as well. Skin follows with the very seductive dark pop vibes, while Scream, Rain, and Superstar bring the love anthems. The closer, M80 dives into the dark pop too. Notably, 2 tracks were written solely by one of the band members, Scream by Dawson and Superstar by Jagger Moon. Yes, that's his real name, Jagger Moon. I was surprised Call My Name didn't make the cut. That would have been paired well with M80 and Skin, but I guess they wanted a more lighthearted sound for the summer.
It's awesome. Yeah.
There are also no ballads on here or acoustic variations of the songs. I would have loved that. Overall, Jate showcases impressive range. This Goes Out to You is Amapiano influence. Superstar and Ran dabbled with UK two-step garage. Scan and M80 were dark 80s pop. It was a good variety. They made it clear Full Circle is strictly a pop group, but far from predictable. Moving on to Siren, they also put out a summer project. Yes, that's Siren, spelled with a P.
So when we were coming up with the name, our creative director had a list of names, and one of the names that he said was Siren. And so we really, that really spoke to us because sirens are mythical creatures who lure men to the sea with their voices, and our voices are very enchanting when everybody hears them. And so we were gonna spell it the regular way, but we ended up switching it up because the regular was already copyrighted.
Oh.
So, yeah.
The Greek Way, this Atlanta-based trio, Victoria, Jada, and Nanaya, was officially formed by Candy Burris and Nick Cannon after Candy discovered them online, promoting their collab single, Walk Away, for Brandon Jay's project. Anaya's claim to fame was competing on The Voice for Team Kelly on season 17. Before then, she moved to Georgia at 12 to train at AGI Entertainment, ran by her godmother, Natasha Garcia, along with her son, Brandon J. Yep, that Brandon. And she was previously in another group called Pink Heart, formed by AGI as well, which lasted around 4 years. Actually, it was more than 4 years. This group was going on for darn near 10 years. But Anaya was added into it later on. It's a whole thing. Anyways, it disbanded in 2020, and there was a concentrated effort that I've noticed when looking into Anaya. There was a concentrated effort in making sure that she popped off and that she became an established entertainer, singer. But that's a video for a different day.
Because one thing about it is, we already put it out into the atmosphere. It's coming.
Anaya wasn't the only one on TV. Victoria, a former American Idol contestant from season 16, came from a musical family. Her mother studied singing in college and was her vocal coach, while her grandma was a nightclub singer. She went to North Springs Charter High School in Atlanta, where she sang in the local musical and also at her church choir. Victoria further honed in her skills at AGI, where she met Anaya and Jada. Jada was originally from Miami and raised in Texas, eventually coming to Georgia as a teen, settling in Snellville. Her high school performance of I'm Not Going went a little viral. Which caught Brandon Jay's attention. He offered to help her music, and somewhere around that time she took classes at AGI, and the rest was history. However, the real story might have been AGI put Siren together, got them on Candy's radar since they're already professionally connected, and right now I think Candy wants to build up Siren's following to attract a bigger label, kind of what QC and TDE does. But I have some serious concerns as to how Candy is doing that, but I'm gonna keep it cute and say that the quality of content that they're posting now should have been what they started out with. And between AGI, Nick Cannon, and Candy, they should squeeze in more coins for Siren. You know what I mean? I think they can invest more with them.
Period.
And also, I'm just gonna be very brief with this. Candy has a huge social media following. Her Twitter has 2 mil followers. She has over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and she's 10 million followers on Instagram or something like that. And she promotes these girls a lot, but nothing is really catching on. And I wonder what's going on. But, I'm not gonna look too much into it, but that's a video for another day probably. Anyways, moving on to their debut EP, In the Key of Us. I think it nods to Stevie Wonder, In the Key of Life. I think that's what it's called. And this EP centers richful, soulful harmonies.
It's all in me.
It's a sampler of how versatile modern R&B is. Next shows their attitude with Y2K flair. Wanted channels Motown, bearing their vulnerability. The Softest is a very 90s sultry escape sampled slow jam that shows off a more subdued adult side. Stressless does as well, but in a more cheeky, playful way. It's a modern take on the Y2K sound as well. Definitely robotic summer bop. Sober feels somber. It's about not being able to let your walls down enough while sober to receive the love you desperately crave. But it seems a little grapey in my opinion. I didn't care much about this track. I do prefer the acoustic version. Last but not least, it's Cry For Me. My favorite track on the project. It's giving dashes of Afrobeats and Amapiano, and I was hyped when they dropped the acoustic version. I've listened to this 1,000 times at least. Needless to say, the EP is a solid project, but I wish their Siren call was on here. It's too good to not be.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Y'all enjoy it, don't you?
Yes.
And I also would have loved some country songs, like R&B vocals with country production gets it done every time. I was looking at the promotion for this EP, and I love how they're doing an acoustic video series for this. They're also featured on major outlets, and like I said earlier, there isn't much traction. Of course, I know the name of the game is, the slow burn, but if it's too slow, then there will be disbandment. I think being featured on reaction channels, getting shout outs, being featured on big platforms like these would have been a better way of getting attention, but again, who knows? And it might have been too costly, because right now, for whatever reason, Candy's the only one footing the bill, so good luck, Siren. Before I move on to the next section of the video, I just want to highlight how all the previous groups I mentioned don't lean into the pop idol way of selling their music. They lead with the music first, and their personalities are taking a back seat. With super commercial groups, they do sell themselves on their personalities, and their fans buy their music based off that. And I love this change of pace with these newer pop groups or R&B groups, whatever. The same can't be said for these upcoming acts though. Across the UK and the US, a new type of group is rising up, and they're all defined by their K-pop experimentation. DearAlice and Katseye are leading the pack, and they're throwing their hats in the ring on what formula can make a successful modern, quote-unquote, Western group. Starting off with Katseye, the global idol group based in LA, they dropped their second EP, Beautiful Chaos, and honestly, the name fits.
And it's kind of a play on our solo stands and people that like to pit us against each other and say that we hate each other or we're fighting all the time.
It might have been a nod to the mess their label Hyde has been through this past year, between New Jeans breaking away and their executive Minhee Jin being axed. The company's been in, well, chaos. Katseye wasn't immune either. The drama delayed their rollout, and the EP itself didn't arrive without some drama of its own. This was the era where a third of the group came out as bi, right on time for Pride Month.
I do want to ask Laura and Megan, because you both came out recently as queer and bisexual, what does that mean to you to be able to be so open? And did you plan to come out the way you did? Tell me.
I feel like a lot of people have been like kind of asking and like spectating, especially with like me.
Unfortunately, Laura got attacked online after sharing a story about showering with Yoonchae, the youngest member of the group, to wash off slime from their Kids' Choice Awards appearance. People twisted it and labeled her a, someone who goes after kids. And it didn't stop there. She and other members were targeted by unhinged K-pop fans who allegedly called ICE on them during the ICE raids and immigration crackdowns. Thoughts and prayers to Laura. Like, I never expected her to be the center of so much hate with this group. Moving on to the EP, Beautiful Chaos might not just be about the group, it could be about the world we're living in right now. So here are my first impressions on the music. MIA embraces the classic chaos, and these are the K-pop songs. It's gnarly in MIA. Then you have Game Boy and Mean Girls, the beautiful side to Katseye, sounding more Western. Gabriella lands somewhere in the middle, but it's pretty sonically and very lyrically savage. It's about eliminating a romantic competition, so I don't really know where to go with that. It sounds like a very generic global pop song, something I would have heard in like 2016. A few critiques that I have: the pretty songs felt a little too safe. A dramatic bridge, a key change, or some type of very vocally inducing ad-lib, something to really elevate the song would have been great. I like the mature direction overall, but it felt too bubblegum at the same time. And looking at some of these girls, it's hard to believe that this is the music that they're passionate about. The songs are too sugary. I get that they're idols and not necessarily the ones making the music, but they don't always sell the sweetness convincingly.
Because it couldn't be further from the truth.
That said, I see the appeal for their target demo. There's something nice about giving young people music that's just made for them, especially since they're still a minor in the group, ignoring the gnarly sus ad-lib aside. I just hope that when Yoonchae gets older, the industry lets them grow up safely, because I have a feeling that as soon as that girl turns 18, they're gonna turn everyone out. From this era, it was really evident to me that no matter the type of industry backing that you have, whether you're on a major label, you're independent, or you're unsigned, groups are a slow burn. Katseye is playing the survivor game like everyone else, it's just on a different scale. I can tell Hive and Geffen understand the importance of controversy. It helps create the story for fans to feed on and get invested into the group. With the Sis era, they had the Netflix docuseries thing, and they had touch virality. This time, it's gnarly and the members coming out. I'm only highlighting their contrived promotional tactics, by the way. So here's the thing. My thing is, if the music isn't worth staying for, then the whole strategy falls apart. If Katseye keeps this up, they might be on the Ice Spice trajectory path, mass a few singles, and then drastically declining. But maybe that's what Hybe wants, to squeeze as much money out of them for a short period of time and then dip. So now let's talk about Katseye's British counterpart, DearAlice. The London-based boy band was created through the collaboration between K-pop powerhouse SM Entertainment, Korean media giant Kakao, and US global label Gamma Records, which I think this is also Usher, Sexy Red's, and Mariah Carey's label. Their formation was documented in the BBC series Made in Korea, The K-pop Experience, where they survived in a 100-day boot camp in Seoul. They're basically another K-pop experiment like Katseye, where they're mixing Western boy band energy with Korean idol discipline, a true industry hybrid. That alone should make them headline worthy, but their debut EP, Bittersweet Summer, is, it's kind of flopping. Considering that there's 3 major companies behind them and no one knows about them, that's not a good sign. Their social media following is very modest for a group with so much industry support, and their streams aren't looking too good either.
That's not good. That's really not good.
I mean, I only found out about their EP from a commenter under my post. But stats aside, here's my first impressions of their music. It's very cheesy, and you know what? I actually don't mind a little cheese, a little cheddar here and there. But I usually avoid giving clicks to these kinds of entertainers, especially when they're part of the whole K-pop global expansion wave. Groups like Katseye and DearAlice are clearly vehicles for Korean companies to break into the Western market. Now for Katseye, I gave them a listen, but not my streams. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink. But curiosity won me over when it came to DearAlice. DearAlice sticks close to the classic boy band formula to an annoyingly obvious degree. Think fan service, pandering to teen girls, and heartthrob energy. So you know what you're getting. When comparing them to Full Circle, it's like DearAlice drank the Kool-Aid, wanting to double down on the commerciality of the pop boy band. DearAlice, they're glossy, they're fun, but I don't feel attached. The music feels super disposable. If Bittersweet Summer disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't miss it. Even the name sounds like a trending hashtag. As for the actual music, most of it leans into mid-tempo or slow vibes, which is kind of odd for the summer. I don't know what's going on. Only drums and Ariana bring that energetic vibe. Maybe they're chasing the whole chill pop thing that's trending lately still. Those 2 tracks do liven things up, thank God. I will say that the slower songs are corny, but the harmonies and the vocals make it worth listening to. Side note, I think R&B groups are the only ones who excel at ballads or slow songs, because most times these pop groups make it sound very cliche. My personal standouts are Ariana, Save Us, and maybe Roses. Especially Ariana. Listen, all the crap I'm saying right now, I can't deny it. Ariana is bop. But I think what makes it even more special is because of the queer themes that it has. It touches on the current state of the dating culture right now, where women are focusing on themselves rather than relationships, and the song alludes to their crush potentially being gay or to focus on their passions, like maybe being an Ariana stan to notice them.
Hi, DearAlice. I've just been informed about the single. That is very crazy. Apparently it shares a name with you. That is quite insane. I wanted to wish you guys good luck because I heard you're shooting your video today.
Which, by the way, I don't support being a stan. That's not a healthy mindset. It's a bold debut single, and I'm applauding them for doing something like this. It hits. Before I close out this video, I just want to talk about some other groups that have been on my radar lately. Starting off with Flow. They released a snippet of their new single, Kaytranada The Mood, on SoundCloud, and it sounds very interesting. A Flow song doesn't really get good until the bridge last part of the song, so I'm gonna reserve my judgment until the official drop. But you know what all this could mean? They could be releasing their deluxe version of AAA soon, and just in time for the summer. It sounds very promising. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for Citizen Queen, who has released a 3rd variant of Crush, and it's getting annoying. It's the live version this time. It almost makes me like the original, but I've never really kind of rocked with the song, y'all know. I'd love it more if they'd release an R&B version of the song, just to prioritize the vocals. However, I will say that the live version does have some great moments as well, so check it out. But like I mentioned earlier, I'm just getting really annoyed with Citizen Queen. I was expecting a brand new song by now. It's been 5 months since Crush came out. 5 months, people, and I keep seeing them promote the same song. And I just seen Nina tease a second single on her IG, and I'm like, are y'all going solo? Because Katie, you know, after Nina dropped her first track, Katie dropped another track, her solo stuff, like a few months back as well, and now Nina is teasing a second single. Like, what is going on? I'm not, you know what, I'm not opposed to them dropping solo material. It's just that if they're gonna do this, move like the OMG girls and release solo stuff along with new group songs, because right now it seems like Citizen Queen is an afterthought. And one more thing, does anyone else feel like Citizen Queen is a bit stagnant? They have a dedicated base, yes, but nothing's really moving the needle with them. I'd love a national tour from them. That's what I'm saying. Lastly, I wanted to touch on Infinity Song. Their new track, London Foxes, a disco soft rock pop fusion, was dropped, I think, like last week? A few days ago? Not too sure. It's cheeky, sophisticated, very much on brand for them. It grew on me. It had to grow on me. First listen, it wasn't it for me. Literally by the 10th listen, I was like, you know what? That last part of the song really, really did it for me. So yeah, I officially like it. So, we already know that groups are a long-term investment. The old model of building careers off instant hits is dying. The new model, whether it's a TV boot camp, years of quiet development, or a cross-cultural experiment, it's all about building a solid foundation. It's about giving a group the time to build real chemistry, to find their sound, and to connect with an audience. And that patient approach is what's allowing them to survive. And finally, maybe even thrive. And this could all result in a very rich, way more exciting pop landscape. The graveyard of Western pop is still there, but these groups have found a way to escape it, at least for now. And in doing so, they're showing everyone else the way. So what do y'all think about all this? Are we in a new golden age of Western pop groups? Let me know down below. Who are you rooting for? Who do you like? As always, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Bye-bye.